Hello, everybody. Welcome to a social episode of the Drywall Podcast. I'm your host, Nick Harmon. With us today, Alice Brooking, a.k.a. that plastering girl out of Auckland, New Zealand. Alice and I talk plainly about being a woman in the trades, a little bit about why she uses the banjo, and that one time when she deleted her entire account with 7,000 followers.
Yeah, but I had an account. So the account that I started, I actually accidentally deleted it at 7,000 followers.
I'm sorry. That sucks.
So
you're probably pretty disappointed, huh?
Oh yeah, I did some crying.
Really?
I cried. Yeah.
Alice is completely wonderful and very inspiring, and I'm super grateful I got this opportunity to talk to her. Shout out to Can-Am Tools for sponsoring the Drywall Podcast in the month of November. This is the third month that Can-Am has sponsored us, and we appreciate them for that. This is no ordinary month of sponsorship. We'll be giving out some amazing Can-Am tools after every single episode in the month of November. Head on over to our Instagram page and like the Drywall Podcast page, and then be on the lookout for posts mentioning this particular giveaway and follow the instructions. We'll be asking you to tag a friend and also mention in the comments what you enjoy about the podcast. This week, Can-Am Tools will be giving away a super cool hat like the one I'm wearing in this episode of the Drywall Podcast, and a roller glide kit. Very cool, and both very free if you win. Can-Am Tools is celebrating 50 years of experience, and their innovative semi-automatic taping tool system. Can-Am Tools has the comprehensive range of high-quality drywall tools for both professionals and enthusiasts. If you'd like more information about Can-Am Tools, head over to their website, www.canamtool.com, for more information. They also have special promotions there. I also want to give a shout out to CSR for offering a sweet swag bucket to our interviewees that we have on the show. We appreciate them for that. But for now, Alice Brooking on the 69th episode of the Drywall Podcast. Let's get into it. You can hear me okay?
Yes, can you hear me?
It's amazing.
Yay. Thanks for having me.
Auckland, New Zealand. We have Alice Brooking, that plastering girl, on the Drywall Podcast. How exciting is this?
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm excited to chat.
Of course. There's a lot to talk about. Couple of initial questions. Have you done a Zoom call before? Probably, yeah.
Yes, I have. I have done a Zoom call.
Okay. A lot of the dudes and dudettes on the podcast have not done even a Zoom call. So, like, getting out of their comfort zone just to come on here, it's kind of a stretch. We're planting seeds because of where you're going, the direction that you're going in your business, which I think is really cool. But also, have you done a podcast yet?
I have done a podcast,
Okay.
I think. Yeah. It was, who did I talk to? Trimtex.
Oh.
I think. Well, we did an interview, but my baby was only a few months old and he was in the front pack. And the first attempt that we did, he was like, every time they'd ask me a question, he would just start grizzling and crying.
Beautiful.
And so we had to reschedule that and give it another go. So we did it twice.
Okay.
But we got there in the end.
Trimtex. Now, where can I find that interview if I wanted to listen to that interview?
Good question.
Okay. We'll
Let
do
me
some digging.
Yeah, yeah. Let me. Yeah, I was pretty fresh after having a baby, so my brain
Yeah.
wasn't that good at the time.
And
Yeah.
how old you have two children?
Yes, I do.
Okay. What are the ages on those?
One is almost 7 and then 2.5.
Okay, so just for reference, Alice is coming to us from the future. It is only 3 o'clock on Monday afternoon here, but it's 9 a.m. Tuesday
10
morning.
o'clock. 10
10.
o'clock Tuesday morning. Yeah. Yeah,
What's it
we're in
like
the
in the
future.
future? What's it like? It's extraordinary.
It's pretty overcast.
Yeah, a
It's
little
pretty grey
overcast.
outside.
Pretty gray.
Yeah.
And Auckland, New Zealand, I don't know much about New Zealand except for everything that I've heard about New Zealand is like it's so beautiful. You have to go there. Lord of the Rings, I think, was filmed in New Zealand, correct?
Yes, it was in the South Island, I think.
South
You'd
Island.
think I would know that for sure, but I
You
never
know,
really got into Lord of the Rings.
okay, okay. Yeah, these are just fun facts about the area. Thank you so much for joining us on the podcast today. How old are you, if you don't mind my asking?
Yeah, I'm 32.
32 years young.
Yes. Yes.
And how long have you been in the trades?
Um, so I started learning properly when I was 18.
Okay.
Um, but before that, my dad's here we call it interior plastering. So
Yeah.
I normally just say plastering instead of
Yep.
drywall
That's
finishing.
okay. Yeah.
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 But anyway, my dad's a plasterer.
Okay.
And he had me on the tools all growing up. So he'd have us there like doing coating screws and scraping the floor.
Okay.
And then as we got older, it was we started doing like more stuff, like pushing
Okay.
him around on the scaffold and helping
Okay.
him put cove up and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So you're second generation drywall plasterer in your family. Yeah.
I guess so, but we've actually got five other, like there's me. So there's me and then there's four other drywall tapers in my family.
Wow.
So we've got a lot.
Who are they? Let's give some shout outs.
None of them have any Instagram or anything. But
That's okay.
we've got my dad and
Okay.
then we've got my dad's
Wait,
cousin,
wait, wait, wait. What's your dad's name?
Kevin Brooking.
Kevin Brooking, shout out. And then who's
Yes.
next?
Yeah. And then we've got John
John.
V.
Who's that?
Um,
Is that your
that
bro?
is my dad's
Cousin?
cousin.
Dad's cousin. Okay.
Yeah. And then we've got my cousin, Phoebe Brooking.
Phoebe.
Um,
Wait. Is Phoebe's a girl?
yes. So she's
Okay.
in Portugal at the moment.
Portugal.
Apparently, I think she's still doing stuff, doing plastering over there.
In
Yeah.
Portugal.
I've kind of lost touch with a few of my family members over
Okay.
the years,
All
but
right.
yeah. Yeah, one, two, three, four others. Yeah, dad, and then dad's two cousins, and then my cousin.
But that's super cool that you have another girl plasterer in your family. Did
Yeah.
Phoebe plant the seed a little bit?
Yeah. Oh, and then my uncle. How could I forget my uncle? So we've got six.
That's a family
My uncle,
affair.
yeah, my uncle is my cousin's Phoebe's dad,
Do you remember his name?
Gary. Gary
Gary.
Brooking.
Gary
Yes.
Brookings. And these are
Yes.
all Brookings.
Yeah.
Cool. Cool.
But yeah.
Very cool. You post a lot of family photos. I really like that. You seem very humble, and I like the family stuff. I like that you get like there's like pictures of the kiddos. You get the kiddos in there. I think that's super cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, thank
Um,
you.
you like being a mom.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
You had a post recently where you were like something, maybe you had gotten some backlash from maybe other drywall dudes being jerks and saying like, oh, maybe you should be in the kitchen or something. And your response
Oh,
was,
yeah.
uh, hey, I drywall all day and also I love to be in the kitchen. Like,
Yeah.
which is fantastic. 'Cause, um,
Yeah.
does that get annoying, or do you get a lot of that, or are people mostly friendly?
People are mostly friendly. I've had
Okay.
quite a few of those types of comments over the years, not really recently on Instagram, but I do have a TikTok, and TikTok is a totally different place, eh? Like with the comments that people will write, they can be pretty ruthless,
Yeah,
and they just say whatever they want, which is fair enough. We've got free speech, we can say what we want, but
yeah.
it's totally different to Instagram. And I've gotten quite a few comments on TikTok being like, "Oh,
Okay.
get back in the kitchen," or I don't know, like go and look after your family and stuff like this.
Jerks, just
What
jerks.
do they think by looking at, like, I don't know, a 10 or 20-second video that that's my whole entire life and that's all I possibly ever do?
Yeah, yeah.
It's just so funny. So
And
funny.
well, I was talking to my friend last night. It's a double-edged sword because you girls have it tough in that you get a lot of backlash for being women in the trade.
Mm,
Um, as a man, I get jealous because the girls get a lot more, maybe get a lot more likes than the guys. Maybe the guys have to
yeah,
try. We got to try a little harder. We got to come up with
yeah,
something good.
yeah,
So that's kind of a double-edged sword there, a little bit.
yeah. I actually totally agree. Like I know that the fact that why I've grown my following is because I'm a woman in the trades, and it's like a novelty. And
Yeah,
people, I don't know, people just uh, find that interesting. And I know that it's easier for me to grow my account than it is for a guy.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
But
yeah, I'm
and
not gonna.
also kudos, like get props to you because you don't have to grow your account. You're very
Yeah,
proactive. And I like to give like props to the women, that are growing their accounts, regardless. Like it still takes a lot of work. You're still out there every day. You got to do the filming, you got to do the posting. It's a lot of energy to do that.
yeah. Oh, thank you. It is a
Yeah,
lot of
absolutely.
energy. And
Yeah.
I've noticed though, going back to what you said about it's like women in the trade is able to get more likes naturally. I have noticed people will, just like women in trades, will just put up a video and it'll just go viral and they won't do anything. They'll just put it out there and it'll go viral, and it's literally
Yeah.
just because of the fact that they are a woman.
So there's probably a little of that animosity from a lot of males in the industry
Hmm.
who are, not only is it challenging to be in this industry, but to be a good finisher, plasterer, drywaller, and but whatever. I feel like men um have it easier in so many other ways, especially in this trade. So whatever.
Mm. Mm.
Whether you're male or female, there's an energy. And I'm talking about this stuff specifically because are you wanting to grow your Instagram account? This is what you're
Yeah,
up to. You're up to helping other people grow their Instagram account. And that's what I'm
yeah,
leading into. Like I do
yeah,
it too. I throw myself out there. Maybe you've listened to the podcast, maybe you haven't, but a lot of people do listen to it like regularly and it's
mm.
gotten more popularity. In order to do that, I have to have courage and like throw
Yes,
myself out there. I think a woman, no less, has to have that more courage, even so, to do it in an arena where she's going to get, um, you know, assaulted. in some instances, men don't have
Yeah.
to deal with that. I mean, but
Yeah.
in any case, if you're going to have followers on any platform, you have to, and I think you said this in another post, not care what people think.
Yeah.
Right.
100%. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. That's
That's
something I've learned over time, actually, from putting myself out there,
yeah.
because it is quite daunting. Um, yeah, all of the judgments
Yeah.
and just having to kind of let it roll, let it slide,
Yeah.
and um, yeah, just not care because at the end of the day, like, what are they doing? Like, are they doing anything? Are they putting themselves out there? Probably not. So they're not in any type of thing to judge or
Yeah.
have any
Yeah.
type of valid kind of.
I like this segue too, and I do want to get into maybe we will, maybe we will. So we'll take back off because that's a good segue into um if you're meeting Alice for the first time or you've never heard of her, she is that plastering girl out of Auckland, New Zealand, and she's grown her Instagram account in such a way that she feels compelled to share maybe with other people or go in a new business direction where she's going to start offering advice or some type of course, and we'll talk about that in a second. And so that's why I'm going off on this sort of tangent. But before that, let's qualify you as a plasterer. So you started out working with your dad. You were spotting screws, scraping the floors. Where did it go from there?
Yeah, and then what happened? Yeah, so he had us on the tools all growing up, and then I
Wait a
never
second.
actually.
Wait a second. You're jumping ahead. He had
Oh,
you on the
sorry.
tool. He had you on the tools. What does that mean?
Oh, so yeah, so first of all, we started off as young kids, coating screws and scraping the floor. And
Okay.
then that kind of turned into pushing him around on the scaffold, and we got stronger, helping
Okay.
him lift, like helping him butter up Cove and carrying it through to him, and he was on stilts.
Oh, I like that butter
Um,
up cove. That's what you said, right?
yeah, yeah.
They'd never say that here. They'd never say
Really?
buttering up cove, like cove
Oh,
ceilings, like the cove ceilings.
Cove, like Jib Cove. Oh, we call it Jib Cove, like
Oh,
moldings around the ceiling
oh.
line.
In New
Yeah.
Mexico, a cove ceiling is rounded. It's a big
Oh,
rounded. It's a big rounded ceiling. They call that a cove.
oh, so no, like Cove molding. They don't
They
put a
do.
molding on.
They would call that just molding. They wouldn't call it cove.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. Hmm.
Interesting.
Buttering up the
Uh,
cove. I like that.
yeah. Buttering up the cove. Yeah.
My boss,
Um,
and real quick, my boss in Crested
yeah.
Butte used to call it buttercream when he wanted it like
Oh, that's funny.
when he wanted the mud really creamy, he'd be like buttercream. He thought that was so funny. Yeah.
That is quite funny. Oh,
Okay, so
okay.
and what does that mean, buttering up the cove?
So it means we lay the cove out on a plank that's on its side.
Okay.
Um, so like vertical up on its side,
Yep.
and then put some mud on the trowel and then run the trowel along the edge
Okay.
of the cove, to butter it up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I'd carry it through and give it to him on the stilts and he'd put it up.
Okay. So
Yeah.
the molding was adhesed to the drywall by joint compound, drywall mud.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
We call it Cove Bond. The one we
Cove.
use here is Cove Bond.
Okay, so Cove Bond is I would assume is a compound specifically made for buttering up your moldings.
Yeah, it goes really hard and it's really gluey.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds
Yeah,
cool.
just stick it up.
Do you use Cove Bond for anything else?
Oh, you can. I've used it I've used it as a base coat to skim walls, like really rough walls.
Okay, like shrinkage I'm talking about. Like, does it have like quick setting? Do you call it quick setting
Oh
joint
yeah,
compound?
we call that we've there's a few brands here. We'll call it like 90 or Trade Set 90.
Okay,
That's just the type of brand. I can
okay,
type in the name of it. Yeah, but
yeah,
it's
yeah.
it's yeah, it's normally like Cove Bond 90. I think
Is
it's 90-minute
is
set.
Cove Bond similar to quick setting joint compound or totally
Yeah,
different? It's
yeah, it
similar.
is. It is. It's just like got more glue in it.
Okay,
Yeah, yeah,
sounds
to stick
cool.
to stick the cove up.
Okay, so if you're floating out going over an existing texture painted wall or
Yeah,
something, you might use Cove Bond as a
you
base coat.
can use you can use Cove Bond. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, but
cool.
the like I would normally just use like a 90-minute just hard set base coat,
Yeah,
just a
yeah,
kind of one.
yeah. Cool,
But if I
cool.
had
Okay,
Cove Bond lying around, I could use it if I
so
wanted.
how long were you in working with your dad before he let you touch the tools? And then was he running like box tools, bazooka, all that, or did that come later?
Yeah, Dad got into using boxes quite early,
Okay,
because his brother was a bit more resistant when it came to like going off hand tools and introducing boxes and auto tools and stuff, because it's a bit of a like people can get stuck in their ways.
okay,
And
yeah.
if they'd be like, oh, I'm a hand taper, it's all I do. I've been doing this for 20 years.
Wait a second. Are
I'm
you
just a
saying
hand
are you
taper.
saying plasters are kind of stubborn?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Um yeah, we've already I've had you're in the 60s this show, and yeah, it probably comes up once a show how stubborn like and resistant to change people are in this industry. So
Yeah.
funny.
Oh, it's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Dad got into
What kind of tools? What type?
um from as soon as I started, pretty much nearly the whole time I've been learning and working with him, he's been using Can-Am.
Okay.
Um, so he loves Can-Am, and that's how I got introduced to Can-Am and learned on them
Okay.
and his
All
really
right.
old ones.
Ooh, I like that. So Can-Am
Yeah,
isn't just a fancy brand that you're grabbing and showcasing because maybe they've sent you some free tools. You
yeah.
genuinely like the brand.
Oh yeah.
Why did your dad like it, and why do you like it?
Dad had been the whole time I was working with him, he would just be raving about them. He would love them, just like the speed and the time it would cut off
Okay.
doing a house, like doing all the corners and the angles and stuff.
Okay.
He loved how fast it was and how tidy it would make the angles and how sharp they'd be.
Okay.
Yeah, just the speed of it, the
Just the
speed
speed.
and the quality, which is exactly what I love.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, like I've been, how long had I been working for before I even started my Instagram? Uh, 8 years
Okay.
I've been working for, like not
Okay.
posting anything, not sharing anything. So it's
Okay.
not like I've just come along and been like, oh, I can see that tradeswomen are getting like big accounts on Instagram, so I'm gonna start. So
Right.
I didn't do that.
Right. Right.
Been working and doing it for ages before I started sharing anything.
So you
So
were probably around 26 ish, 27 maybe,
when I started my Instagram,
when you became that plastering girl.
oh yeah, I started it in 2018.
Okay.
So that how when was that? I would have been
5 years ago. 28. Yeah, 27.
27,
Yeah.
27. Yeah.
Okay. Were you
Yeah.
Alice Brooking on Facebook before you became that plastering girl?
Yeah. Yeah. I just had like a personal Instagram. where I would just share like just family stuff. And
Okay.
I never really tried to grow it or do much really with it.
So you used Can-Am, the semi-automatic tools, but then were you guys using like bazooka and box tools? What were you using for those tools?
Yep. So dad never had a bazooka, and I've actually
Okay.
never used a bazooka.
Woo,
Uh,
really?
I know. I've never used one.
Do you
I've
want to?
never
Do you want
never
to?
had one, never used one. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. I just feel like because I haven't been um because I've been, I've had my two kids and then
Yeah.
I've had time off and I just haven't been able to take on like jobs big enough to warrant kind of having one,
Okay.
if you know what I mean. Like,
Yeah,
but in the future, like when I get into doing bigger jobs and, like I actually could warrant having one,
sure.
um, yeah, I would definitely want to
Well, I don't
want
think you're going to have any trouble getting one when
you
you
never know.
when you get ready. But I've ran them, and the reason I go into is because I love running it. I just think it was the funnest thing that I did in drywall or plastering was running the bazooka. It's a lot of fun once you learn how.
Yeah,
And,
they do look fun.
they're a lot of
Yeah.
fun. So how do you tape? And then we'll go into the social media stuff. How do you tape by hand, if you don't mind?
Like put the tape in, you mean?
What's your process?
Oh, so I just use a banjo.
Okay, you use banjo. All
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that's how my dad taught me.
Okay. Yeah.
Um, that's what I've been using.
Yeah.
And yeah, I like banjos. They're light
Yeah. Yeah.
and yeah.
There's people in the Southwest where I'm from that just use banjo and they're
Oh
fast,
yeah.
like really
Yeah, yeah.
fast.
Banjos
Oh
are
yeah.
great.
Yeah. They
Yeah,
are.
like to be honest, I see people like with like buckets and chucking it up by hand.
Yeah.
And it's like mess everywhere. And it's like, why
Yeah.
don't you just use a banjo?
Well,
Lovely
though,
reason.
yeah, because just like we're talking about, because there's different strokes for different folks. I mean, you
Yeah,
learn these,
100%.
and the more I talk to drywallers, the more I'm like dumbfounded by how different everybody does it and how it's like, oh, that's okay. We had a slot box guy on here, the honky tonk taper out of Canada, like this kid, and he was super cocky, and like he was, very, he was putting down companies and stuff like that. It was really funny, but I don't really care what
Wow.
I don't really care what people say on here. I try to keep it like diplomatic, but like you can say whatever you want. This isn't like governed by some authority. I want people to be
Yeah.
candid, so that we can learn from each other. And I've seen some really cool slot box, is what they call it, slot box
What
systems.
is that? What's a slot box?
A slot box where they put all the mud into the box.
Oh, is that what it's called?
Yes. Joe,
Yeah.
um, if you listen to Joe Koenig with Trimtex, he's like, I interviewed him early on, like, and I've known Joe for a long time, but he's like a very early interview, and it's a really funny interview because Joe's funny, and he's talking about the slot box, and it's just the funniest thing. And it's like, he's talking about being up in the skyscraper in Toronto, and like this guy with the slot box, and he's got like, the only part that doesn't have mud on him is like the center of his back.
That is so funny.
um but people do it that way and they swear by it. And you know what, I watched that slot box and I'm like, those guys are pretty fast, and you can do a bunch of tape, so Columbia makes a tool, and these other companies make tools they push the tape down into a bucket so that you can reel it out and put it into a
I've seen that.
box. And they wear a box around their neck and it's got all the mud in it, and they just go and they pull it out and put it on. And you could
Wow,
like
amazing.
you can reel out like 250, you probably don't do feet there, but like,
Yeah.
a roll of tape into the
Yeah.
box, like almost a whole roll.
Wow.
But I talk about it with
That's amazing.
the honky tonk taper guy, like he does it that way.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why don't you use a banjo? He's like, you know, they use that stupid banjo. So
Well, I guess the good thing would be you don't have to stop and fill the banjo up all the time
yeah,
when you run it.
definitely. Yeah, you
Yeah.
can
So
get
I
the
can
same
definitely see why. Yeah.
same with the bazooka. I remember when I ran the bazooka, I mean, I could lay out, nine stand-ups and there's a whole method, but the bazooka busts out a bunch more than the banjo. The banjo
Oh yeah.
actually of all the systems runs the least amount of tape, I would say, out of,
Mm.
that you can put on at one time before you have
Yeah.
to go back and wipe. So, but I
Yeah. I
but
can definitely see that would be the case.
but the dudes
Yeah.
here that I've seen some really fast guys with the banjo, like really fast. But I think it
Mm.
takes multiple people. Whereas the bazooka is kind of, you can get away with running it yourself. Like I could
Hmm.
run out a whole tube of the bazooka and then go and wipe it all myself because it's so fast.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
then it's easy to pump up. You put it on the gooseneck and just,
Yeah.
pump up a full tube and it's a lot of material.
Yeah.
But you'll get to try it, guaranteed.
Yeah. Yeah. One day I will.
So you were running the tools and stuff. Let's go back to the point in time where Alice was like, what am I doing here? I'm going to become that plastering girl on social media and I'm going to blow this thing up. What was your thought process there? I mean, that's kind of interesting. That's a unique jump for you. Or did you, unbeknownst to you, that you would become this popular, I guess?
Oh, I had no idea, really.
Okay.
I I actually saw I was just on my personal account and I was like, I'm just gonna search for tradeswoman
Okay.
and on Instagram. I'd never really thought to do that before. And then I came across Leah Porluck. I don't know how
Mm-hmm.
to say, I'm probably saying that wrong with my Kiwi.
No, that sounds pretty good.
No, what's her
Leah,
last name?
Leah, Leah Pollock. Leah Pollock.
Leah Porluck. Sorry,
Yeah.
Leah. um, I came across her on Instagram and I was like, wow, this is crazy. There's actually other females out there
Oh
doing
yeah.
this. And then I
Yeah.
came across Taping Queen
Oh
and I
yeah.
was like, whoa, there's even more people. And and then I was like, oh, why don't I start sharing
Okay.
stuff? And I was
Sure.
just like, oh, well, I've been doing it. Why have I not been sharing it? But I just never thought about it. I
Yeah,
never
yeah.
thought to share it because I just thought, oh, I'm just gonna just continue to do my thing. It's just my job. I just go to work and do it, and then I just do other stuff.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, then I just started doing a few posts, and then next thing I knew, I had like a couple of hundred followers, and then I was like, wow, people actually kind of like to see this or find it interesting. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So I just kept doing it,
Okay.
and then I started making videos. Um, yeah, it was just for fun, really.
Yeah.
I didn't really have any type of goal or
Okay.
mission. I was just doing it for fun.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Interesting. And the type of content that you were putting out at first, what was it? What would you say? Just how
At first it
was
was,
it how-to videos or just like, I'll post myself running this box. It's kind of cool.
yeah,
Or running the banjo or something. This is kind of neat.
it was just like that. It was
Okay.
just like a photo, yeah, like there might have been a selfie holding some
Okay.
tools, or
Sure.
yeah, video taping, or yeah, doing the box. Oh no, that came later. Um, yeah, just I don't know, random stuff that I kind of thought I would share.
Yeah.
There was
Yeah.
no strategy to it. There was
Yeah.
nothing.
Okay. And
Um,
then were you on Facebook or no? Was it primarily
no,
Instagram?
just
No.
Instagram.
You never were on Facebook.
No.
Okay.
Only for my personal account. I was never on there for like that plastering girl or anything.
How come?
I don't know. I was just doing it for fun.
Are you on Facebook now?
I'm on Facebook now, but I have kind of like my Instagram connected to Facebook, but I
Okay.
don't I don't post on Facebook. I mainly just post on Instagram and
All right.
TikTok
And we're
because
probably stealing some of the thunder, your strategy thunder that you want to talk to other people about. But yeah, that's like kind of like posting strategy, you know,
well
like
that
type
came
of stuff.
later.
Okay.
I kind of started thinking about it more when I realized that I was growing a following.
Okay.
And then I started to think about content more and strategy and posting times and hashtags and all the stuff. That's when I started to think about that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I had an account. So the account that I started, I actually accidentally deleted it at 7,000 followers.
Like
So
that.
it's possible if you think you're deleting another one, but you're actually logged into one.
I'm sorry.
You're
That sucks.
so
You're
I
probably
had
you're
my
probably pretty disappointed, huh?
oh yeah, I did some crying. I
Really?
cried.
I
Yeah,
cried.
of
I
course I did.
cried. I cried.
I did cry. I can
Oh
remember it very
no.
clearly. It was
Uh,
traumatic.
I'm sorry. So, and okay, so for our listeners, what did
Yeah.
you do so that this doesn't happen to anybody else? How did you delete your account by accident?
Okay, so I all right, what happened? Yeah, so I had my personal account that I just posted personal stuff on. And then I had my plastering girl account,
Okay.
which was that plastering girl, but with underscores instead of full stops in
And then
between the
that
words.
was that a business page attached to your personal page?
No,
No. Okay.
I don't think so.
They were
No,
two separate pages.
they were two separate pages. Yeah.
Okay.
And so I wanted to delete my personal page,
Okay.
but I'd gone through all the steps, but I didn't realize that I was actually still logged into that plastering girl account, but I thought I was in my personal one. So
Okay.
then I just deleted it. And it was back in 2018, I think. Yeah, 2018. And I couldn't get it back. I tried really hard to get it back,
Uh
but I was just like, I'm just going to have to deal with this and start again.
yeah.
So I started again. And that's when I kind of put everything I'd learned from growing my one I
Okay.
deleted. I just launched straight into growing this current one that I
Yeah.
have.
Yeah.
And
And
I
you were
just
like, I'm gonna do it right. I'm gonna do it
yeah,
right. I'm gonna video this certain way. I'm gonna use the right hashtags, and I'm just gonna blow this sucker up.
yeah.
Okay.
So that's kind of what I did. I just used all the tools I'd learned to
Okay.
just build myself back up again.
Good. Good. Very
Yeah.
cool. And so what was the time when you reinvigorated your that plastering girl page?
That would have been end of 2018.
Okay.
So I hadn't had my initial one for very long
Okay.
before I deleted it.
Crazy. 7,000 and you weren't even trying and not very long. To give you reference, like I've got like 1,600 on the Fresco Harmony, maybe more, maybe like 1,800.
Mm.
It's like I work my ass off. I'll have to take your course.
Yeah, because honestly, it's not really like you can easily do it.
Well, I saw
Yeah.
something. Your latest post was like, "Hey, you could do these three easy things, and you
Yeah.
can gain 1,000 followers just by doing these, practicing these couple of things." And I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, that's a nice, catchy marketing strategy to pique my interest for sure." You
Yeah.
know,
Did you get it? Did you get the free guide?
No, I will. And
No.
so I
No,
should
I
have.
can
I
tell
should
you what
have.
they are.
Shame for shame. Yeah, I'm still a drywaller. Come on now. Don't
I
expect
can tell you it.
don't expect too much. Now, okay, so the free guide. Now wait. So if somebody, because we have an audience now, if somebody wants to go and get Alice's free guide, I guess this would be like an introductory, and then you have maybe more information behind the free guide that you can offer. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Okay. So if they want to get the free guide, how do I do it? Because I will definitely go and do it after this.
It's just in the link in my bio.
Okay.
So you can find it in the link in my bio. Yeah.
Okay. And your bio is, what's your handle on Instagram?
That plastering girl. So it's like that dot plastering dot girl.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's the Instagram handle that you want to go to. And what are the three things? We could talk about them in depth, or you could just mention them or whatever.
Yeah. Well, I did these three things when I was coming off the back of a moment where I'd lost motivation for content creating and Instagram and stuff. I kind of
Okay.
go through waves. I go through waves where I'm feeling really inspired. And then I go through times where I just need a break and I take a step back.
Yeah.
Just life. It's like a up and down. And when I do kind of take a step back, my insights go down. I get less reach, less engagement, obviously, because nothing's happening. And I lose followers. Like I'm losing hundreds and hundreds of followers like every day, but I'm also gaining hundreds and hundreds of followers
Wait a second. Why on
every
earth
day.
would anyone stop following that plaster girl?
It's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing that
It's not a
people
bad thing.
unfollow because then it keeps your audience like they actually want to follow you. So they're more
Okay.
likely to engage with you.
Okay.
People, if
Qual
you've got followers, but they're not really like interested, they're just kind of
Sure.
wasted. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if they unfollow.
Quality, quality, not quantity. Although I would
Yeah.
say that you probably have both because you definitely have quantity. Where is your Instagram page at right now? How many followers?
I've got 103,000
Okay.
in between 103 and 104,000 in there somewhere.
Okay. Now, when you reach 100,000, does something special happen? Do they beam you up into like a
Uh,
space shuttle and like whisk you off to Silicon Valley or something?
oh, that'd be great. But no.
Nothing happens. They don't send
Nothing
you a
happens.
letter. Nothing
Nothing
happens.
happens.
Yeah. Did you acknowledge reaching 100,000 when you did on your page?
Yeah, I just
Yeah.
said thanks for
Yeah.
following along.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Do you have any well, we can go back to, you were talking about the waves, the ups and downs,
Oh,
and
yeah.
your strategy.
Yeah, so I go through these waves. I go through waves where I love it, and then I go through waves where I actually just want to delete everything
Okay.
and be
Yeah.
done with it. I'm done, like sick of it. Don't want to do it anymore. But then I come out of that, and I'm just like I get my motivation back, and then get inspired again, and
Yeah.
then I realize don't do anything when you're not feeling. Don't make any rash decisions when you're not feeling motivated. But anyway, yeah, so I was coming out of a moment where I wasn't posting so much and everything was down. And I thought, okay, I'm going to do these three things and I'm going to see what happens. And
Okay.
so I did them. And yeah, I more than doubled my reach, gained 1,000 followers, and my engagement was back up in seven
Okay.
days.
In
I was
seven
like,
days.
well, yeah. It's like,
And do you want to say what the three things were? Or do you want people to go to your bio?
oh, I'll say them now.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't, I, yeah, they're very simple. The first one is consistency.
Okay.
You have to post consistently. Like some people are like, oh, you don't have to post every day, but I really recommend just do something every day.
Yeah.
Yeah, every day, because if you stop, people like social media is fast, Instagram is fast. People lose interest really quickly,
Hmm.
and your post might go like get seen for a day or so, but then it'll drop off and the next things come and people forget about you,
Okay.
or your post will just kind of fade away. And if you're not posting every day, you will just get forgotten about. And it's so I posted every day, and because the
Okay.
more you post, the more chances you are of being discovered, um, which then brings in the followers and brings in the engagement.
Okay.
Um, yeah, it's exposure. And if you post, I don't know, like I was posting once or twice a week, and it wasn't really enough
Okay.
in terms of to get my
No.
reach out there. So I post 5 to 6 times a week,
Okay.
reels, and I've found
Reels.
that that's, yeah. So that's my next thing. The
Okay.
next point is reels, post reels.
Number two.
Yeah. Video. Like Instagram started as
What kind
posted.
of reels are you just, I mean, do you have is there a time in mind, like a length of time?
Um, I tend to try keep them shorter,
Okay.
reels a bit shorter and interesting. You want to do interesting reels. So it's
Definitely.
good for us because like if you're filming yourself working, it's naturally interesting because it's satisfying and it's
Okay.
like things are happening, you know,
Okay.
like seeing a wall transform or
Yeah.
putting tape up. Something's happening and it's interesting to people. It's
Okay.
not just like the normal thing you see, everyday thing. It's different. And so you want to post reels that are interesting, that aren't too long. Get in front of the camera. So you want to have yourself in the videos
Like
because,
this.
yeah, because what I see people doing whose accounts just aren't growing is because their content is super boring
Yeah.
because they're not in it, or they're showing like something that might be really cool to them, but to the average person, it's boring. Or they'll
Yeah.
leave big areas. They'll leave big areas in the video where nothing much is actually happening, which drags the real length, like the video length out too long. People's attention spans are too short that they just keep
Yes.
scrolling. And if they're
Okay,
not,
so editing though, you're probably pretty savvy at editing. I mean, I haven't watched your videos. I've seen them and they're engaging and I like them. I haven't critiqued them from a video editing standpoint. I talked with Brian Kitchen from Drywall Nation
yeah,
about video and editing because he's really good.
yeah,
Um,
he's great.
yeah, he said no more than 3 seconds, like which is
Mm.
per frame.
Oh yeah,
Like the attention span is that quick, 3 seconds per frame. You got to move on to the next thing. And I tried doing that
yeah,
with some videos, and they instantly look better. Like
yeah.
it's weird. It's weird. So what's your strategy around editing? Do you use iMovie? How does that
Um,
go for you?
I use an app called InShot,
Okay.
um, which is just yeah, phone app. Um, I've been using that one for years. I really
Okay.
like it.
Okay.
I paid to take the watermark off because nothing like looks worse than a watermark
I
from the
agree.
app you use to edit on it.
Yeah.
Just to
Hate it.
take it
I
off.
did I did the same thing with PixArt. I use
Yeah.
for a lot of my editing, my photo editing. I use PixArt, and they do
Yeah.
video editing too. And yeah, they make you pay to take the watermark off.
Yeah.
You got to
Yeah. I
pay if
use
you're going to use
PixArt as
that
well.
app. Get it out of there because it looks
Oh,
janky.
definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
InShot, interesting. And why use something that you have to pay for versus like iMovie that could be free? Maybe you don't have an iPhone. I don't know.
I have an iPhone. I just the time when I started this, I
Okay.
had a Samsung
Okay.
and then I got used to InShot
Okay.
and
Yeah.
I've just stuck with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I like it. I know how it works. I'm used to it.
See, that's why I think that I wasn't good at TikTok because I've been editing video in iMovie for so long. I feel like TikTok was like a video editing platform. That's why they became
Yeah.
so popular so fast. People got good at editing in TikTok. And I
Mm.
was like, I don't really edit in TikTok. I edit in iMovie and then I drop it over
Yeah.
into TikTok so that I own the content. The problem with editing in TikTok is that it's watermarked.
Yeah.
They own it, and it's like, no, I want to edit my video, save it into a file, and have it. It's mine. You
Yeah.
know,
100%.
that was always my idea about it.
Yeah. That's why I don't edit in the app. I don't
Okay,
edit every now and then. If it's like something that's only small, I'll edit it in the
okay,
app, Instagram or TikTok. But
okay.
I like to edit externally.
Yep,
So then I've got it. And it's, yeah, like you said, it's mine. And then I can post it to both easily without worrying about watermarks.
yep. Number 3.
Number 3 is be social because this
Social.
is,
Put the social back in social media.
yes. So what I say is it's called social media, not anti-social media. Because,
Yes.
yes, that like comment, reply to comments in your,
Yeah.
if people comment on your post, reply to them. Like
Yes.
their comment.
Thank
Like
them.
comment.
Like give them
Yes.
a, yeah.
Yeah, just be nice, be friendly, be sociable, comment on other people's posts.
Yeah. That's a
Just
big one, man. I somebody is taking the time out, especially on Instagram. You've got, you know, for me, it's like 3. I'll get 10 comments at the most. I know you get a lot more than that, but like 10 comments, I can respond to every single one of those. And I'm not just going to like it. I'll be like, thank you, thank you, thank you.
yeah,
Appreciate that. And you can give a personal response. If you're only getting like 10 responses or 30 likes on a post, you have more than enough time to accommodate your audience and tell them how
yeah,
appreciative you are that they came and like commented on your stuff. That's pretty cool.
yeah, yeah. I think it's so important.
Yeah.
Um, and not only is it just a nice thing to do and to engage with, your followers and friends and stuff, but it also drives your engagement rate up and it shows Instagram that that post is getting attention and that it must be
Right.
popular. And so Instagram will send it out more. It'll
Yeah.
show it to more people and it'll get more reach, get more views. Um, so it's not only, yeah, nice thing, but it is a good thing to do to grow your account. And it works.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Love it. Have you gotten a chance to listen to any of the Drywall podcasts yet?
I was listening to the one that you recommended in the in your
Which
email.
which
I
one was that?
started his name.
Was it Myron
That
Ferguson?
that that, that drywall guy.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah,
nice. He's such a nice
yeah,
guy.
yeah,
He wrote the book. He wrote the book
yeah.
on drywall.
I
Did you
haven't seen
like
the book. Maybe I need to get the book.
I know, I do too. It's on the, I think it's on the video. There's a video on my YouTube. So the podcast Podbean will share the audio podcast to YouTube all of the podcasts
Oh, okay.
live in YouTube. You can listen to all of the podcasts through YouTube. Fun fact. Um,
Okay. Good to
and
know.
then early on, I was posting like 15-minute teaser videos of the podcast. But
Mm.
recently, I had Big Dog Drywall on. Have you seen that guy?
No, I
He's
don't
like
think so.
redhead out of Canada. He's got like a beard.
No, I
He's caught.
haven't.
Yeah, Aaron went and ran the bazooka with him. He had never ran the bazooka before, and Aaron went and ran the bazooka with him. And
Yeah.
I had him on the podcast, and he's just kind of a kick. But he suggested that I post all of the videos, like the entire video on YouTube, which is challenging because I have to download it. I have to like set it at night and hit download, and it like
Oh, yeah.
like I have to leave my computer open, and it like takes so
Mhm.
long to download an hour long video
Yeah.
that you that part I had to figure out. But podcasting has been so cool. Who do,
Yeah.
who do you listen to as like inspiration for like marketing and these types of things? I'm sure you have inspirational characters on social media that you look to. Can you say who they are?
Well, I just follow people who are posting specifically about digital marketing,
Okay.
and
Like who?
they just give all sorts of random ones.
Okay.
But I actually did a course that I got from my friend
Okay.
Gabby,
Okay.
that she is selling, and it's called the Roadmap.
She's does social media instruction.
Yeah, so she's actually done like a digital marketing degree. That was her
Oh, okay.
job. She did that for a long time.
Okay.
And then she has got this course
Okay.
that I got from her. And
Okay.
I learned a whole heap about
What's
just
the
digital
course?
marketing. This is just recently, and also how to do what I'm doing, which is
Sure.
create a digital product.
Well,
Because if you've got something,
Gabby's got to be so proud of you.
oh, I don't know. I'm proud of her.
Being her
Yeah.
good friend, and you're like, you have 100. I mean, I would be shocked if Gabby had 100,000 followers. Shocked.
Yeah, no, she's really great. But I only just did that recently. So it's
Okay.
kind of like in terms of wanting to share the knowledge that I've gained, it was
Okay.
really helpful to
Okay.
learn about more about digital marketing and about doing a digital product,
Okay.
which is just my guide, my free thing, and my little social media guide that I've done.
Okay. Would you recommend Gabriella's guide, or are you trying to steer
Oh
people
yeah.
more towards your guide, or like go check out both or whatever?
Oh, they're totally different things. So her
Okay.
guide that she's got there is kind of how to do what I'm trying to do, what I'm doing.
Okay. Yeah. What you're
So how
doing.
to market, how to create a digital product and then market it
Okay.
on your social media. Yeah. So they're
I
just different
maybe I'll
things.
get like her to link so we could just post it in here, something. No, I think there's intrinsic value in just like everybody just helping each other. Like,
Yeah.
I think that's kind of the premise. Like, we're not so important that we can't help one another to be better.
Yeah.
That's the premise of the Drywall podcast. This
Yeah.
is I'm a drywaller. There wasn't a podcast. I'm marketing a product. And, I get in all these great conversations with plasters, drywallers, about the industry. And I was like, there's a podcast here, like this should be a podcast. And we've had a lot of fun talking and laughing. And, it's
Yeah.
that's what inspired me to do this, this exactly what has happened here. So I'm super appreciative of your time for sure. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. It's been really great. You're a great host.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, you're very good at it.
But going back to your, not to deflect your compliment, I really appreciate that. I didn't know when I started a podcast that I would be kind of good at it, like that it would be that I'm very comfortable doing it. And the first couple sucked. Like, that's okay. Like, because I wouldn't have the 60 whatever episode without the first 20.
Yeah.
And I had to learn how to turn the dial on each episode. Podcasting is a whole different animal, and it's so cool. And like nobody in this space is really doing it. Nobody in the drywall space is really doing it. We got Brawley's dad up in Canada. He's a kick. And, a Pia Drywall, he's doing one. He's from Brazil, but he's also out of Canada. Okay. But it's pretty rare. Trimtex has a thing they're doing. Walls and Ceilings magazine has a small thing that they're doing as well. Not like this, though, not real candid with people in the trenches that are doing drywall every day, that are influencers, that know how to run the tools. Like, that's who I want to talk to,
Yeah. Yeah. Good on you. Good on you for like getting out of your comfort zone and starting it and just doing it.
Yeah, I think that's what you're talking about. That's what we were talking about at the beginning. Yes, the girls and the women have lots of followers, but if they didn't have the courage to get out there and post their stuff, nobody'd be seeing it. And kudos to these pioneers of social media in the drywall space for giving other girls permission to go and do drywall or do carpentry or be in the trades, and that it's okay to post about it. And, and other women and men and individuals in the tradesmen want to hear your story. One thing I ask all of the interviewees is for a pearl of wisdom that you could bestow on the drywall community. What would it be?
Pearl of wisdom. Oh, okay. Pearl of wisdom. Something that my dad taught me is you can never finish something on the first coat.
Okay.
So it always takes more than that.
Don't try. We've all tried. If you're listening, don't even say that you haven't tried to like coat something once and leave and then the homeowner called you back, because we've all tried it. It doesn't work.
Yeah. Can't finish something on the first coat. And that can be related to so many things though. Yeah. It can be related to what it's meaning for, like actually work drywall. But also like it takes more than just one attempt at something to make something work. Yeah. You got to do more. You got to do more coats. You got to do more practice.
Yeah. I've heard the expression that I've heard is if you can't take the time to do it right the first time, how are you ever going to find the time to do it over? And I've always liked that one.
It's a good one.
Yeah. I think it was on a sign at like a mechanic shop, like appropriately enough at a mechanic shop. But Alice Brooking, that plastering girl out of Auckland, New Zealand, with us on the Drywall podcast today. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. What a great conversation.
Thank you so much for having me. It was great to talk.
Absolutely. And we'll be in touch. I'll text you just some stuff. I'll get like a couple photos from you and things, but thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Oh, thanks for having me on.
Okay. We'll talk soon.
Okay.
Special thanks to Alice Brooking for being with us on the Drywall podcast today. I really, really, really appreciate your time. Shout out to Can-Am Tools for sponsoring the Drywall podcast in the month of November. This week, Can-Am Tools will be giving away a super cool hat, just like the one I wore in this episode. Also, they are giving away a roller guide kit. Head over to the Drywall Podcast Instagram page for more information on that. Can-Am Tools has a comprehensive range of high-quality drywall tools for both professionals and enthusiasts. Head over to www.canamtool.com for more information and more special promotions there. Do you have a hankering to be a star, or maybe you know somebody that would like to be famous on the Drywall Podcast? I'm not saying it could happen, but just give me a call and I will totally talk to you and get you on the podcast if you would like to be on the podcast, or if you know a drywall professional that you think would like to be on the podcast. I'd love to hear from you. You can contact me directly at info@frescoharmony.com. Thank you so much for joining us on the Drywall Podcast today. I sincerely appreciate it. You can catch new episodes of the Drywall Podcast every Friday, including next Friday when we have Dusty Pillard with us on the Drywall Podcast. Until then, keep drywalling.